Well, the race day saw great weather, but the sun wasn't shining for everyone. After a nightmare Saturday with 2 engine failures and another disastrous warm-up on Sunday morning, James Thompson's Honda was unable to race.
Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we've had some problems that we can't identify. So there's no point looking stupid out there. Let's go back, use the time at our disposal and make the situation right, and come back at Brands Hatch, hopefully stronger, a smile on our faces, and you know, a bucket load of optimism.
Well, we're a resourceful bunch here at Eurosport, so instead of sitting behind the wheel, James Thompson spent the race weekend behind the microphone for the English version of Eurosport. So a rolling start as usual for race 1, a great start by Rickard Rydell, who immediately pulls away from Nicola Larini. Rob Huff takes the outside line and is going to try and overtake everybody, but he drifts sideways, but manages to keep the car under control. Ivan Muller made it from P8 to P2, benefiting from all the confusion going into that first corner. We join the action in the first lap, and at the back, Augusto Farfus and Jörg Muller are bumping door to door and off on the grass, but both managed to find a way back on. And then Gabriele Tarquini was involved in a collision and went sideways, but the Triumph Championship leader dropped down the order. And then another big hit for Augusto Farfus, hitting Britain's Tom Boardman, ripping off the front of the car.
Unfortunately, there was no chance to avoid all this crash because there was plenty of crashes around me. So probably I was on the wrong time in the wrong place.
So that was race 1 over for Farfus, and that's already the 6th race this year without a point. In front then is Rydell, Ivan Muller and Nicola Larini, followed by Jordi Genet, Andy Prio and Rob Huff, and due to the clash in the first corner, Jörg Muller finds himself fighting with the independence drivers and overtakes Yves-Pierre Cortels for 12th place. This is a replay of Larini overtaking Muller for 2nd place. A nice move there by the Italian on the Frenchman in the Seat. But it's the end for Olivier Tielemans. An engine failure ends up with his car on fire, and he didn't even make the restart for race 2, unfortunately. Andy Prio attacking Jordi Genet for 4th place here. The reigning champion managed to again be the best BMW driver in the field. He's right on the tail of Genet here. There's the Chevrolet manager Eric Neve with the traditional bow tie for the celebration of the Chevrolet pole position. So Rydell in front, Larini, then Ivan Muller, Jordi Genet, Andy Prio, and then Rob Huff. Well, the independent Sergio Hernandez was caught up in a fight that damaged his bonnet here. We wondered how long that would hold on. Jörg Muller still stuck behind Tom Coronel. He attacks, but can't find a way around the Dutchman. Meanwhile, bad news for independent champion of last year, Stefano D'Aste, getting himself in a spin, and afterwards D'Aste, desperate to make up places, collides with Franz Engstler, and D'Aste would get a 30-second penalty for his move. Here was Hernandez's car being patched up, the race director ordering him in to get that bonnet taped up. So ahead of everyone then is Rickard Rydell and Nicola Larini fighting for 1st place. These two, of course, have a history from the controversial race in Anderstorp last year. Andy Prio's pushing and pushing, trying to force Genet into a mistake, but the Spaniard is faultless in his Seat Leon TDI. But speeds over 200 kilometers an hour were just too much for that bit of gaffer tape on the front of Hernandez's bonnet, and he has to pull over and he's out of the race. So Rob Huff waited for 10 laps to take his chance. Here it comes now after Prio attacked Genet. Huff dives on the inside to overtake Prio and take 5th place. A great move by the 28-year-old. Usually we see this sort of move from Prio himself. He suddenly finds himself behind his fellow British driver. Some great onboard shots there from the Guernseyman's car. So onto the last lap, Rydell, Larini and Ivan Muller and up and away. Huff moves further up the field, taking 4th place from Jordi Genet with a great move here. That really was a great race by Huff after going sideways and nearly losing it in the first corner to recover to take 4th place. And going into the last lap, Andy Priaulx tries one last time, but Genet resists all he can against the attacks from the BMW driver. And while the Chevrolets were able to overtake, the BMWs are really struggling to pass here in Estoril this weekend. And so Rydell takes the win. He was the only one of these Seat Sport drivers without a victory in 2008 so far. So now all 5 of them have at least one victory. Larini comes home second in front of Ivan Muller. Rob Huff, then followed by Jordi Genet, Andy Priaulx, Thiago Monteiro and Felix Portero making up the top 8. In the Independence Trophy, it's Pierre-Yves Courtal who takes the victory. It's his 3rd win of the season after the double in Puebla. So joy for Ricard Rydell. Congratulated by his teammates. And also in Parc Fermé, Pierre-Yves Courtal. And Ivan Muller celebrating with his wife Kathy. So then the first victory of the season for Ricard Rydell in the Seat, followed home by Nicola Larini in the Chevrolet in 2nd, Ivan Muller in 3rd, Rob Huff in 4th, Jordi Genet in 5th and Andy Priaulx, the reigning champion, in 6th place.
There's a few races early in the season, like Brno and Valencia, where I didn't manage to qualify very well, and it's really tough, this championship. It's very close between the cars, and if you qualify 9, 10, 12, you're struggling to make it into the top 8. Yesterday I managed to qualify 2nd, thanks to a really good team effort from the whole Seat team, and today I could take Nicola off the line at the start, and I think that was the key to win the race.
Today, as the race passed, we can see at the start we cannot compare with the Seat Diesel. They have a lot of torque, the first gear, and I did a good start because I could do the pace for the start, but at the minutes I shift up in 2nd gear. I saw him going away, say hello, bye-bye.
We always try to do a fantastic start, but sometimes the scenario doesn't work, and today it worked. It was difficult because from my place I couldn't see the red light, so at one stage I could see it, and the red light came off. I put just flat power, and I could manage to pass the 2 BMW outside, and then it was a big mess on the first corner, and I just crossed. It was okay. I planned a bit to do that, but it was a bit of luck as well.
Coming up after the break, we'll have all the action from race 2 in Estoril.